y'all, it's Kobe R. Rice, and I'm back again with another weekly creative update. Okay, so this is just a little late because for whatever reason, my Monday yesterday was just kind of cray-cray, and I had my beautiful little child over the weekend. So, I'm just like not even gonna try to record a podcast when I'm watching a 3-year-old. That's literally an exercise in insanity. So I'm here today to give you guys an update on what's been going on in the past 8 days, 7 days since the new year started. And this is our second podcast of 2018. Super excited. So, welcome back to the epic, fantastical journey of a Black female sci fi writer. And I finally got the title right. I'm so excited. I've been trying to get the title of my own podcast out correctly literally for the past year, and I think I might be on track. Okay. So this is episode number 54, and we are on a fast track to getting to our 100th episode. At least I hope we are, as long as this year stays okay. And if it doesn't, hopefully I'll just be able to stay on the horse or on the bull, so to speak. But today I'm going to be talking to you guys about workaholism and self-care. All right. So this particular podcast is entitled Fighting Workaholism, Prioritizing Self-Care, and Social Media Fasting. And I mean, there have been some interesting experiences in the first week of the year that have really reminded me that change needs to be an active daily process. You need to sort of actively engage in the different kinds of habits that you want to create for yourself in order to create a new holding pattern for yourself, or just create a new path for yourself altogether. And some of that new habit making actually lies in you becoming more actively aware of what your old habits are and making tweaks and literally sitting back and becoming more active in your choices. So let's say you're trying to change your diet, right? Which I would always love to keep improving my diet, as I'm sure we all would. I don't know really anybody who has like a perfect diet, but like we're all sort of working to like be healthier, I hope. And let's say that when you're thirsty, the first thing you do is you go to the refrigerator and you grab some orange juice or whatever. Now, orange juice is not bad for you. It's actually quite good for you. But it also has a lot of sugar, and it can also have a lot of calories. So if that's what you usually do, whenever you get up to go to the fridge and get something new to drink, you have to stop yourself and say, wait, hold on. I have orange juice here, but then I also have water. I'm going to make an active decision to choose the water this time, or I'm going to make an active decision to choose water 3 out of 4 times I go to the refrigerator, right? So doing those things is actually not that easy because a lot of the things that we do are on automatic sort of autopilot, because basically with every decision we make, we lose more and more willpower. So a lot of us try to basically schedule in on a repetitive basis as many things as possible and try to make a habit of as many things as possible, so we don't have to think about whether or not we're going to do something, and we don't have to think about how we're going to do something. So making a change in your habits and in your patterns actually takes a lot of energy, both mentally, emotionally, and physically. So I have become more aware of my habits, and I'm trying to one by one make those small changes, make those different choices so that I can basically elevate my holding pattern and bring my entire well-being into a different stratosphere. And a part of that, and I'll get into more of this topic a little bit later in the podcast, but a big part of that process of habit changing has been to really change who I hang out with, who I interact with, where I hang out, where I interact, how I engage with social media, how I engage with friends, family, and acquaintances and colleagues, and how I manage and engage with my business, as well as with motherhood, although that's actually going really well. And my energy is actually pretty good in that area, I would think. So a lot of changes in just the first week of this year have been happening, and they've been a little bit overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm gonna get more into me discovering my unfortunate workaholic streak, me looking at how I engage with my patterns, with certain holding patterns that I'm, dealing with, how social media has influence in a negative way the ways in which I interact with the world and I view the world, and how I'm changing that. And then, of course, I'll be talking more about prioritizing self care, because that is one of the main habits that I have had to make active changes in, with regard to my mindset, with regard to how I prioritize self care, and just with regard to the little things I do on a day-to-day basis to improve or enhance my self care. So that's a little intro as to like what's coming up in the podcast. But first, as usual, I want to just go over what I was able to accomplish this week. And excuse me, for those of you who are looking at the vlog version of this, I'm going to be looking a little bit askance because I'm referring to my notes on my computer, which are right in front of me on the screen. So like, I'm not staring at something behind you. I'm just looking at my notes. Okay. So, this week, world building was on fleek, but it was actually more so for the Asylum trilogy, rather the Asylum series, that will not be coming out. Well, it might be coming out at the end of this year. That's sort of the plan, to release like a little novella, but we'll see. But the main bulk of the series is going to be released in rapid succession sometime in 2019, probably mid 2019 to late 2019, to be really honest with you guys. But I'm working on the shadow development of the world and the story Bible now, as well as the plot and the characters. And I am just super amped about it. Actually, I got so excited about the world building and about all the characters and the different class structures and the plot that I even considered turning it into a longer series. But I actually decided, and this is again another active change in my habit, I decided to try to keep it parsed down to a tetralogy, meaning a trilogy plus the prequel. And I'm doing that because I really do just want to finish a string of books in a series and just have it out and like be able to move on. And then if I want to come back to the series later and develop like a prequel trilogy or a hexalogy or a pentalogy or a series of short stories in that world, then I can come back and play in that sandbox whenever I feel like it. But in terms of just finishing and publishing and just having out in the world a complete series with a complete arc from beginning to end, I just need to make that happen. And I love trilogies, and I just sort of want to get in the habit of producing them. But now that I think about it, as much as I love trilogies, I think I love tetralogies even more. For those of you who don't know what tetralogies are, they're basically series of 4 books as opposed to 3 books. So, because there's always story around the story, you know what I'm saying? And so I just think that tetralogies are really cool to work in, to get into extra character adventures, or looking at how a character became who she is, or who he is or they are at the beginning of novel number 1. Like, having that backstory is really cool a lot of the time. And I actually see a lot of that in TV series, where they'll start off smack in the middle of a character's current situation, like with Scandal, right? Run through an entire season, get you gripped by that season, and then in season number 2, there's a plot that's moving forward, but you're also looking at what came before. And it's very interesting seeing the gaps in a character's development being filled in that way. So I think that there are a lot of possibilities with tetralogies, but I won't get into that too much. But basically, world building this week was on fleek, and I actually got a little bit of writing done as well. Not as much as I wanted to, but for January, just FYI to you guys, I don't put as much pressure on myself to get tons and tons of writing done. I still have my standards and my goals that I want to meet, but January is really the point at which I am launching all of my endeavors. So I'm taking my productivity courses. I'm putting together like my yearly plan. Even though I have my goals already set, I have to have like sort of a mental action plan as to how I'm going to achieve those goals, and how I'm going to do that month by month, week by week, day by day. And so I'm sort of solidifying and finalizing those plans. I also really enjoy using January to just like set up my financial health and everything, which is like, not too far off from the typical cycle here in America, because January is when a lot of people start doing their taxes, and I like to get mine done as soon as possible and just get that out the way, because it's like 3 to 4 hours of you just literally sitting there. I do my taxes myself, and so it takes a minute. It's going to be even more complicated when I start incorporating my LLCs this year. So, just getting all of my financial stuff in order, just making sure everything is in place for me to basically hit the ground running come mid-January, end of January. So I wrote under 100 words for book number 2 in the Asylum trilogy. And I didn't really work any on the Hollow Point novel for this week. Not saying that I won't, but that is forthcoming, and I have been thinking a lot about it. It's just the Asylum trilogy, Shadow Development has really kind of gripped me, and that's just how it goes. But the plan is to finish Hollow Point, by the way, by the end of this quarter, and to hopefully publish it. I would hope either by late March, early April, because it's really just getting to take too long at this point. That's just my personal opinion. Anyway, okay, so what's next? I also worked on the Blackheart Boulange brand. Okay, so for those of you who have forgotten what that is, I am working on opening the Blackheart Boulange, which is it's sort of like an amalgamation of 4 different brands: the Blackheart Bakery, Blackheart Boudoir, the Blackheart Boutique, and Blackheart Books. And I'm working on right now the Blackheart Bakery brand. But in terms of shadow developing all the other brands, I was working on getting the website up, updating my websites, editing, designing the website, and then doing just some more back end web development. When you're using WordPress like I do, I really enjoy WordPress. It's free, I'm familiar with it, and it's great. But when you're using WordPress, you do have to put in a bit of work in order to get the site up and running the way that you want. So, so that's what I've been doing for the Blackheart Boulange, as was laid out in my goals for Q1 and my goals for 2018. I'm shadow developing both my various novel series that I want to work on, but I'm also shadow developing my businesses. And the Blackheart Boulange, as you guys know, is going to be opening October 1st, 2018, with the grand opening of the Blackheart Bakery specifically. So I'm working on all of that day by day, little by little. Okay, let's see. I did do some marketing stuff this week. I tried out some new themes for my Kobe R. Rice brand website, and they look great, but I sort of had a moment where I was just like, you know what? I like what the template looks like on my website right now. I really enjoy just everything that's set up on KobeRRice.com. And I love this new template, but let's save this for maybe a couple years down the line when I really feel like it's time to upgrade and update my brand, not that I am not going to continue to look for different ways to upgrade and update, but sometimes just kind of let things sit and just let them ruminate and marinate. And I finalized, quote unquote, my current branded website about June or July. Yeah, around June or July in 2017. And I just needed to sit for a couple of years until it just is not working for me anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what I'm trying to do right now. Let me put on Do Not Disturb. But it was interesting seeing what Kobe R. Rice could be in the future. And that's pretty much all I'll say about that, because I don't feel like messing with that site. I also started to educate myself more, as promised, on the social media aspect of my author brand and of my business brands. I really am trying to find out more about using Instagram and Pinterest to grow my readership and to grow my subscribership for the Bohemian Badass and for New Adult Noir. And I'm just doing like, I'm more again like in the research, finding out phases so that I can see where these social media outlets fit into my business and how I can make these work for me without putting in, 80% of my time into social media marketing. Um, I just feel as though there are things that I just kind of want to set and forget, or things that I want to just be able to go into my Hootsuite dashboard and deal with and then just move along. And I want Pinterest and Instagram to kind of just be a little bit easier to manage from one place, but they're like not. So we'll see what happens. But I've been doing some marketing research on that for sure. Also updating the New Adult Noir website. In some ways that actually might be kind of annoying, but you know, we'll see what works. I installed some squeeze pages and landing pages and pop-ups, both banner pop-ups and like, in your face ad pop-ups. Just advertising an amazing new, it's not even a product, but just like a new gift that we offer all of our subscribing readers who haven't subscribed to us yet. Which I'll get into in just a minute. But I spent a lot of time putting this wonderful gift together. And basically, all you have to do at newadultnoir.com is give me your email so that I know where to send this gift. So I'll tell you guys about this in just a second. But before I talk about the new gift that I have available on New Adult Noir, I want to just give you guys a final wrap up of the results of the 25 days of box sets giveaway that I was hosting at the New Adult Noir blog for sci-fi fantasy horror and sci-fi fantasy horror romance readers and authors. So, this giveaway was insanely successful, at least from my point of view, in terms of just not only in terms of how many readers we were able to attract into the giveaway, but also in terms of the quality of readers that we were able to attract in the giveaway, which I'll get into. So to begin, for all 20 box sets in 20 different specific genres, we attracted 23,013 new readers. For the Insta Freebie specific and exclusive box sets, which span 21 different genres, we attracted 51,243 claims, or if you want to call them downloads, across all the box sets. And mind you, just FYI, a lot of this also includes reader overlap. So there's some readers who are going to want the military sci-fi box set, and they're going to want the space opera box set. You know what I'm saying? So each claim doesn't necessarily cover the... I got a cute text. Okay. So each claim doesn't necessarily mean that we have one fresh subscriber per book downloaded. It just means that we have a certain number of downloads per box set. So just keep that in mind. And then finally, we had over 8,800 subscribers in our King Sumo giveaway. It's actually exactly 8,802 giveaway contestants who entered our giveaway, which was a 25 days of prizes giveaway. So we gave 25 prizes away to individual readers who joined our giveaway. And those prizes included an Amazon gift card, or a cash gift card, or a KU subscription for 1 month, each of which was worth about $10 a piece. So basically, collectively, without being able to distinguish between subscriber overlap, so keep that in mind, we attracted over 9,200 downloads and giveaway contestant entries. 92,200, if I didn't make that clear. I don't know if I said 9,000 or 92,000. I'm a little tired, so just like bear with me. So we attracted over 92,200 claims, downloads, and readers for this giveaway, which was absolutely insane and absolutely incredible. And I'm really pleased with how the giveaway turned out. Um, and it was wonderful. And so now everybody has been served their prize. Everyone has gotten their box sets. The authors have received their subscriber lists, which is amazing. And this was a great giveaway to do because I didn't give out, for example, a massive list to hundreds of authors. Some readers only got introduced to two authors if they downloaded a two author box set, and other readers got introduced to like eight authors if they downloaded an eight author box set. So it was really nice because at the end of the day, everyone got what they wanted, but they're not going to get bombarded by, all these authors on email lists or whatever, which is wonderful. So I really enjoyed it. I also just need to find out at this point with the survey if my authors enjoyed it, if they actually really appreciated the ROI. But I certainly know that the readers enjoyed it. And as much as I love my authors and as much as I want to keep them happy, the readers are just as important. So if they are feeling the giveaway, if they really enjoyed it, I am happy. That's what I'm here for, to serve the readers what they want. And I got so much wonderful like love mail with maybe a smattering of hate mail, like one or two people who were mad if they didn't get a grand prize, or one or two people who were mad that um, our special new gift that's available at New Adult Noir was the only prize they got, which is fine because that means that they were not our true readers that we wanted in our giveaway. Um, but the readers who did really respond positively, who were just so excited to get these box sets and so excited to get our new gift, it was just wonderful, like knowing that I could help make readers happy. There were certain readers who said, I'm so grateful for all these free books because I'm in a rough spot in my life and I can't afford to buy any books. Or there was one woman who worked in Scotland. Hi, so if you're watching this, hi, boo, who said that she works security, I believe at like a nursing home and or like a teen home or something like that. And it's very quiet at night and she just needs a way to pass the time. So she was just so grateful to get, our new gift from New Adult Noir and all these wonderful box sets and, just to fill her hours. And it's just wonderful knowing that we can touch people in different ways, just worldwide. And it's just a great feeling and it's wonderful to see how books and reading and a love of the written word really brings people together. So that was like a really wonderful feel good portion of it. And it just getting all that wonderful love mail and gratitude mail from our readers was super, super impactful for me. But I've been hinting at this free gift available at New Adult Noir, and so I finally want to introduce it to you guys. As a part of the massive giveaway that we were running in December, I promised all contestants and all readers that at the end, everyone would get a prize. Whether you won a grand prize or you just entered, you would get a prize. And that prize is a 30 book, yes, 30 book / 30 story box set of dark and gritty sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and crime, much of which is classical and some of which is more contemporary. So that is the prize that we gave out to all of our entering contestants to the giveaway and to everyone who just wanted to download box sets. And people were going crazy over this box set because I actually curated this together myself using works that are currently in the public domain. So don't try to come and sue me because this is perfectly legal. But I hand curated a lot of the darker, more paranormal-ish Sherlock Holmes stories, Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft. I put some more contemporary work, which includes my work in there. What else? There were some other, I can't even remember everything that we have in there. Oh, included Dracula and Frankenstein, like just a whole array of different, really well written, dark and gritty stories that just span over different kinds of genres. And I was really happy with this box set and these selections because I felt as though, from both a classical and contemporary standpoint, that it represents exactly what New Adult Noir is into. Excuse me. And while I can't offer more contemporary works as a part of the free download, I'm going to make it my duty to continue to offer contemporary works through our giveaways and through our free books promotions, as well as through our box set promotions. So if you downloaded our free gift at New Adult Noir and you love the classical selections, but you also want things that are more contemporary, we're going to offer both to you. So the New Adult Noir 30 book gift set, box set, is just to get you started and get you a foundation in what we're doing at New Adult Noir. So if you're interested in downloading your 30 book, 30 story box set from New Adult Noir, go to newadultnoir.com. That's newadultnoir.com. And if you click on the grab your free library tab under the For Readers tab, you can grab it there. We also have in the right-hand column on several pages an opt-in form where you can put in your name and email and automatically get the box set delivered to your email address. And we host the box set on BookFunnel, which is amazing for facilitating a very easy download process. So if you have a Kindle, whether it's a Kindle e-reader or just the app, if you have the Kobo reading app, you have the iBooks reading app, the Nook reading app, it doesn't matter what you have. Whatever device you have, whatever app you have, you'll be able to read this box set on that app. So check that out. It's an amazing way to start off your year, an amazing way to tick off a bunch of really great books on your, if you're doing like a reading challenge this year, check it out. It's a free box set. It'll be free until the end of time, and it will be on our website until pretty much the end of time. And in the future, I will be adding on more and more stories to that box set that are more contemporary. And also classical ones, if you guys are interested in getting classical works that are very beautifully formatted, that are in the public domain, just send me an email at newadultnoir@gmail.com. That's newadultnoir, NOIR, at gmail.com. Or you can just go on the website and contact me through the contact form and suggest titles that you want us to offer, and we will do that for you. Okay, so moving on. I also, just changing gears completely, moving from my love, New Adult Noir, the Dollhouse has officially started its inspirational and educational vlog and podcast. Well, is forthcoming, but it started its inspirational and educational vlog for single mom creatives and just single moms in general. Now, we only have one video up there. I'm going to be recording more videos this week and putting them up as the week draws on. But if you are a single mother, even if you're not a single mother and you're just like a woman who wants inspiration, education, resources, support on the business that you're trying to start, on dealing with family, dealing with children, dealing with finances, investing, entrepreneurship, fitness, health, anything focused specifically and geared specifically towards you as a single mother, this is the channel for you, and I invite you to join us. Again, we don't have much content right now, only have one video up thus far, but there are more forthcoming because we have so much to talk about over the course of 2018. And I'm actually going to get into a little bit of the things that I would like to talk about this year on this podcast, but we're going to hold off on that for a minute. Okay. Creative Uni was pretty on fleek this week, although I did scale back and take it easy this week because it was important to just protect my energy. I sat more lectures from the Black Real Estate School because, as you guys know, the 5 pillars of economic empowerment and financial stability are very important to me. I had a major awakening financially last year as I got more knowledge and just started to think more about stocks, investing, asset protection, savings, credit, and things like that, both as an artist, but also as a woman and as a mother. Those things have become super important to me, just making sure everything is in its place. And so continuing that trend, I'm continuing my evolution. I'm sitting more lectures from the Black Real Estate School. also sat some lectures from the Black Wealth Boot Camp, which is amazing. It really talks to you about becoming your own person, getting off the corporate plantation, as Dr. Boyce Watkins says, and also looks at those 5 pillars of economic empowerment, which include investments like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, credit, having good credit, making sure that you have a clean bill of credit health, real estate, and that's important for building your wealth and for increasing your ownership. Asset protection is important because you need to think about insurance for yourself, for your family, for your business, putting together your estate planning and your will. That's important. And then savings, I believe, is the 5th one. I really need to get it together. I always forget what pillar number 5 is. But those are the 5 pillars that I have sort of considered and developed, for myself. And those are the things I'm trying to become stronger in as the years draw on. So that's basically what I've been working on this past week in my creative uni. And what will be forthcoming, of course, will be more just, quote, getting life and business together classes, end quote, for this week and this month. I also started to prepare more. I don't even really know how to say this, but prepare more for the writing aspect of what I'm going to be doing in 2018. For example, Scrivener came out with another version of their software, which is really nice. I mean, I was okay with Scrivener 2. Like, I didn't really care if they updated it or not, because it's amazing. But the new update for Scrivener 3 is pretty incredible. I suggest you guys go and check it out. I'm not an affiliate of Scrivener 3, not yet. So if you see a link below, don't think I'm just trying to pimp you. There's nothing in it for me to advertise it to you at this point. But it's an amazing piece of software, and they have a new version of it as well as new tutorials as to how to use it. So I've been sitting those new tutorials and getting to know the new Scrivener much more intimately, and it's been great. It's a great piece of software for writers. It's been pretty much like, my writing life was pretty impossible prior to the advent of Scrivener, just FYI. So check that out. And then I also just started gathering together my screenwriting resources. The 2018 potential Oscar contender screenplays are out. You can check those out at screenwritingu.com. They have a week, I believe it's called like Screenwriter Week or something like that going on. And they have all of the screenplays pretty much available on a particular page for 2018, all the way up until like as far back as I believe it's 2013 or 2014. A big part of becoming a good screenwriter is to read screenplays. There's really no way around it. It helps to teach you about formatting. It teaches you about style. It teaches you how to deal with dialogue, scene changes, and transitions, action, like writing action. It just teaches you a lot. It gives you the blueprint as to what you need to do for your screenplay. So a part of my creative uni this week was just gathering all those resources together, and I have literally like probably 100 different screenplays to read. And that's not even including the 4 screenplays I have printed in my binder in my room right now, in my genre that I want to read and analyze. So those screenplays include Aliens, which I'm super excited to read, Saw, which I'm also super excited to read, The Dark Knight, these are all like literally my favorite movies in the universe, so I'm just amped. The Dark Knight, and then I forget what the last one is. Oh, and then Serenity, also one of my favorite movies ever. So that's going to be a really great time. That's how I'm kicking off my year, is studying that big binder of screenplays and then going to the Oscar contenders. So creative uni for my screenwriting and for my directing is on fleek. Just like I said in my 2018 goals, it's going to be the year of the director, year of the screenwriter, and year of shadow development. That's just what it's going to be. That's how we're rolling. Okay. Graduate school. Let's not talk about graduate school just yet. Let's just push that to the side for a second. Okay, directing and dramaturgy. So I haven't really done much except coordinate with my co-director for the MLK Day Tucson celebration. And basically, there's actually not really much to do for preparation for that show. My co collaborator is the person who's going to be delivering the poem on stage. I'm pretty much acting in a co-directing um, producerial role where unfortunately she can't make certain parts of rehearsal, so I'm going to be there the entire time helping to coordinate, filling in for her, reading the poem, like, timing it, figuring out what the lighting is going to be, etc., etc. So, I'm acting in this capacity more as a producer director as opposed to a dramaturg director like last year, and that's totally fine for me. But the main thing that we're excited about and that we just want to get to as soon as possible is working together on the year-long play development process, which is going to be totally amazing, and I'm totally psyched about it. Our classes, basically that entire project is hooked into graduate school and hooked into a specific class that I'm taking called the dramaturg and the new play process. So as I mentioned to you guys in previous podcasts, I'll be working together with my collaborator to help her as a dramaturg write her first play, whether that be a one act or a full length play. She's going to do it on a local artist and semi historical figure in Tucson who's done a lot for the community of color, as well as the artist community and the artist community of color. um, and so we're excited to work together on that project from idea all the way to finished and produced project and product. So that's the main thing. I mean, not that we're not excited about MLK Day, but MLK Day is pretty much in the shadow of this bigger project that we're trying to put together and stage by the end of this year. So we're really excited about that. And we're just basically waiting until this weekend is over so we can start that. Okay, now we're going to talk about graduate school since that touches on grad school a little bit. To be really honest, guys, I'm just like not ready at all to get back into the fray. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm just not ready. I'm not ready. I just want more time. Unfortunately, I didn't take as much time to relax and to sleep in and to like lay around as I wanted to. I mean, I did do a lot of that, but you guys know me. There's always something going on. It's very hard for me to lay around and do nothing. Even if that doing nothing is like watching Netflix, which is actually helpful for me as a director and as a writer. I need to be on top of those shows, which is great because it's like I can like watch TV and call it work, and that's amazing. But even doing that feels not industrious enough. Oops, I hit my mic. And so I spent a lot of my vacation kind of like just working and getting my mom on, and I did take some time off during the holidays, which was great. So for the final 2 weeks of December, I did a little bit of work, but I spent a lot of time, just hanging out with my kid and just reflecting and recording that 7 hour long update and all those things. And just for whatever reason, the vacation just didn't feel much like a vacation. So I don't feel very ready to jump back into the fray. I literally got a reading from one of my professors on Monday via email. We all got it. And I was just like, no, bitch, I don't feel like dealing with this. That's really like, that was my reaction. I just like did not care. And that is like a problem. Like, I haven't even started this semester and I'm already not giving a fuck. And that's a huge issue. So hopefully I can just get it to all the way together and just, get on board and get on point for Wednesday, tomorrow, which is when graduate school starts. The bottom line is that, again, at heart, I'm an artist. I'm not, I mean, I can do scholarly things. I think I can do some very brilliant scholarly things, but I'm just not interested in doing that. I'm not interested in being a scholar. I just want to have the skills so that I can use those skills to deepen and magnify and improve my art. And that's it. I don't want to spend like weeks and weeks at a time reading theoretical articles and reading about art or reading about theory and scholarship and whatever. I just don't care. So whatever, you might poo-poo me for that, but I just rather make things. That's what I want to do. And so when I got that reading, I was just like, oh, this is not me. I'm not really feeling this. I'm not featuring this. Goodbye. I have to do it today, but I'll be doing it like without being happy about it. I'm a little child. What can I say? So I'm not ready to go back, but I am doing a series of, in addition to starting classes this week, I will also be having my TA-ship and my graduate teaching assistant meetings with my two supervisors this week. One for my horror film class, which I am so freaking excited about. That is one thing, aside from the play project, that I'm super amped about. And then the other is for my theater appreciation class that I have to TA. And I'm still going in with the mindset that yes, TAing is super important, but ultimately I'm not here to get a degree in teaching assistantship. I'm here to get a degree, an MFA in theater arts. And so I'm trying to remind myself of that every day, every week, every month, every semester, every year. And again, this kind of goes back to my original point with going into your old situations, trying to change your daily habits with new mindsets. For me, this is not an old situation per se. I haven't been in this for like decades, but this has become a familiar situation, and the ways in which I had been operating for the past 3 semesters need to change a little bit. And I have to do that through, again, actively engaging in making different choices at each stage of my graduate school process. So whereas I would literally just automatically take a huge stack of, of papers that I have to grade and do that, over the weekend or something, I'm going to actively change my mindset and work towards doing a little bit at a time each day so that it's not overwhelming for me. I'm going to also become more actively engaged in sharing the workload, especially because I have a co-TA, and I believe we're both 50-50 on this. And like she's an actual co-TA, so I'm super excited about that, as opposed to like just like a assistant grader, which is, which is different. It's still great, but it's different. So yes. Okay, so I think I went through all of the updates that I wanted to go through. Just getting things together for graduate school, getting ready, even though I'm not really feeling it, and also doing my mommying and adult thing. Still got to be a mom, still got to adult, and still got to like take care of business outside of all this wonderful grad school, artistry, creative business stuff that's going on. But I do want to talk to you guys like specifically about self-care. And this past week has been a major, major lesson in self-care in a huge way, because at one point I was sitting, this was, I think, like 5 days ago. I was sitting at my desk looking at all my goals for this year. And for whatever reason, I just felt like I needed to do everything all at once, all day, every day. And I started getting really anxious. And I mean like anxious, like shakes, like my hand was shaking. I felt discombobulated. I wouldn't say that I had a shortness of breath, but I just felt like I wasn't inside of my body. And I don't know how to explain that to you guys, but like that's just kind of how I felt. It's sort of when your adrenaline is up and going at like a crazy, crazy high rate. That's basically, what happens. Your body reacts in a very fight or flight manner. And so that causes a lot of physiological changes. And I felt that when I felt the burden of all of these goals on me. On top of it, I did at one point take a couple of days off from not doing any work. And that also had a really adverse effect on me. Basically, and I don't know how else to say this without sounding like a damn alcoholic or crack addict or something, but like I literally went into withdrawal from not working. It was actually very scary, and so this is a little personal because it makes it sound like I have some serious issues going on, and maybe I do, but I talked to a friend of mine who basically has in the past struggled with addiction. And I was describing all of my symptoms to this individual when I decided to basically quit working cold turkey. Because if you guys know me, you know I'm working all the time. I need to work on getting more sleep because I only get maybe 5 hours of sleep a night, which is like way too little. I'm usually up working, writing blogs, doing podcasts, writing novels, building worlds, doing graduate school work, grading papers, showing up in classes, being a mom, dealing with all the other adulting stuff that I have to deal with as a single mother. And I'm just always on the go, always. And those 2 days that I stopped being on the go, like they were causing like literal physiological and mental issues and intellectual issues. I didn't know what to do with myself. I got shakes. It was like weird. It was like weird and terrifying. I got like anxious. I got shaky. I got a little jumpy. I started to feel like this sense of, I don't know. Was it hopelessness or emptiness? I don't know what it was. I realized at that point that like I was a serious workaholic, and it's a problem. And in a certain way, workaholism is never really addressed because essentially you're a functioning addict, right? Because what you're addicted to is productivity, and what you're addicted to is progress. What you're addicted to is being the best of yourself. What you're addicted to is hitting goals and hitting milestones. What you're addicted to is getting out more books. What you're addicted to is producing more content, making more podcasts, writing more blog posts. What you're addicted to is getting all A's and being a perfectionist. But just because you are addicted to positive outcomes, it doesn't make it any less of an addiction, and it doesn't make it any healthier, in my opinion. Like I could be addicted to vegetables, but too much of anything is not a good thing. I could be like addicted to water, but as we've heard through like those freak accidents online or on the news, you drink too much water and it causes a certain condition in your body where all of your salts and potassium are way off base, and you can go into literal cardiac arrest and die. You know what I'm saying? So too much of a good thing or too much of anything is not good, even if it might seem as though that thing that you're consuming and the results of that consumption are all good things. And that hit me in a major way. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I just came to a serious conclusion, and I was like, this has got to stop. Like, I need to slow down. I need to relax. I need to build in healthier boundaries when it comes to myself and to my work process. I need to completely revamp and change the way in which I elevate my dopamine. Because what I was experiencing actually, in my opinion, in my unprofessional opinion, was a complete crash in my dopamine levels, because working makes me feel good. Working makes me feel valued. Working makes me feel productive. Working makes me feel like a badass bitch. Like it does. It just makes me feel like the ultimate badass. Putting out products, like being able to say to myself, hey, I established a business and made it a 4-figure business in less than 4 months. And, it's going to be growing in 2018, and then it's going to help elevate the rest of my businesses. Like being addicted to success elevates and keeps high your dopamine, and when you are not doing the thing that elevates your dopamine, you crash. And that effect is the same across any sort of I don't want to use like scientific terms that I don't really know what they mean, but across any sort of thing that you're engaging in that raises your dopamine, whenever you take that away, it's as though you're crashing. It's the same kind of feeling and same physiological connections we're making when we fall in love. and we get our hearts broken. Because when we're in love, our dopamine levels are up, up, up. And then when that thing that's causing our dopamine levels to be raised is gone, like that person that we love so much, we don't have that high anymore and we crash. So a part of it, of your crash is logical. Obviously, you're going to be sad because you don't have that influence in your life anymore. But a big part of it is also physiological. And the same thing happens when somebody is doing drugs and they suddenly go cold turkey. The same thing happens when someone is addicted to alcohol and they go cold turkey. And that's the same thing that happened to me being addicted to my work as a workaholic and me quitting cold turkey for those 2 days. And so recognizing those very unhealthy mental and physiological changes really helped me to completely turn around my perspective on what I want to do for 2018. It has not changed my goals. It has not reduced my number of goals, but it has changed the way in which I am going to reach those goals. And it has also allowed me more grace in terms of not being hard on myself if I fail to reach those goals. And the act of change that I made primarily is to focus on my self care first in every and all situations. So I even considered like getting a wellness coach because again, my work ethic and my workaholism would, in my opinion, was interfering with just other things I needed to do to take care of myself. Like I like to, do other things like cook and engage in like handcrafty things. I do enjoy exercise when I get to it. And I wanted to engage more fully with those things that were going to positively impact my health. I want to engage more fully in meditation and in prayer, like I had said in my last update as to what my goals for this year were going to be. Like more meditation, more prayer, more physical exercise, not just like the basic, hey, we're keeping our health in check exercise, but actually, elevating our exercise to my exercise level to like, I'm actually like gonna get, brolic or whatever and like be a badass level and want to be able to run 5 miles a day and like really just like be athletic and in shape. I want to join a martial arts class. And there was no way I could do that while being in the same workaholic mindset that I was in for 2017. So once I started realizing that that was coming to bear on my life in a major way at the beginning of 2018, I was like, I was like, no, boo, like, no, we need to calm it down. We need to make active changes in our schedule, active changes in our mindset, and put up boundaries. So what I started doing was that I started timing my sleep. Basically, like my daughter and I, we like to listen to music at night. Like just gentle, like lullaby. I usually choose like a Disney lullaby, the 6 hour lullabies that they have on YouTube for babies and children. We'll put that on right before bed, and that will just play. It lulls her to sleep. It gives me great sleep and get great relaxation. But also in that, I know when I start the lullaby, we go to bed, and when I wake up, I can see how long I've been sleeping because the lullaby is either still playing or it's over. So I started in a very kind of passive way timing my sleep. And even if I don't get a full 8 hours at night, what I'm trying to do is try to get at least 6 hours at night if I can, and then grab a 2 hour nap during the day. I feel like that's probably the best I can do at this point in time as just someone who really enjoys waking up really early in the morning, like at 3, and like getting work done. I'm like really generally on point at that time. But if I'm only sleeping from like 9 to 3, I need to make up those hours, those other hours during the day. Or if I'm sleeping from like 10 to 4 or whatever, I have to make up those sleeping hours during the day. So I've been timing my sleep. I also have been timing my work. Like this morning, for example, I was working for 3 hours and I just decided straight off the bat, I'm going to pick 3 things, give an hour to each thing, and then I'm going to go back to bed. And like sticking to that. And it actually worked out really well. I realized too that my brain really only focuses on one thing for about an hour straight anyway before I need to change up a pace or get up and walk around or change topics completely. So that actually works. So I've been actively engaging in becoming more aware of my body and more aware of my mind and my mental space, and trying to do things to protect those spaces. Um, Another thing that I actually did is that I committed myself to a self care regimen. And I did that by making self care purchases, which included a treadmill. Okay, like, so I'm excited about that. I just made, and actually it's a cute little pink treadmill that it doesn't even cost that much, and it's like pretty small and compact, but that's great because like now it's going to be right in my living room, and the first thing I'll do uh at some point, during the day, probably early in the morning, is be on that for an hour, get up my dopamine, work out, and that's going to be great. It also will be really great in the summertime to have that home, because in Tucson we have literally summers that are anywhere between 100 to 115 degrees. It's very hot outside. You literally cannot step out for like a minute without being covered in sweat and without wanting to faint. And it's kind of, the gym is kind of a hike from where I live, so it's just nice to have that right in my house so I can remain active and work on my health in an active way. I also bought a yoga mat, weightlifting gloves, and weights. So like it's just making, and also running shoes. So at first it felt, I was pained to make these purchases because I'm not used to putting myself first. I'm not used to putting my body first. I'm used to putting work first, or my daughter first, school first, graduate school first, TAing first. But I made an active decision to make these investments so that I can basically deal with myself and focus on my health in the most convenient way possible. That also not only puts a daily reminder of my self care in my living room, but it also cuts down on the excuses for me to not go to the gym and me not to work out, because literally it's 10 steps away as opposed to being like, I don't know, 10 miles away. So I made those investments in my self care. And what for the days off that I have, I usually tend to like to work most of the morning because that's when I'm most on point. So for the summertime, my schedule is going to be different than in graduate school. But for summertime, it's going to be morning work, then probably with a break for breakfast in between, then a workout, and then get, just freshening up, doing lunch, and then doing some more marketing kind of busy work towards the end of the day. So that's sort of how I'm trying to set up my summer schedule, with the morning being creative, meals throughout the day that are healthy and wholesome, and then a workout regimen smack in the middle of the day for like an hour, which is great. For the school semester schedule, it's going to be a little bit different, because on the days that I have to be to class early in the morning, I'm probably going to reserve mornings for work and then afternoons for exercising. And then those days where I don't have to be to class early in the morning, I'll probably work in the morning, then do a morning workout, and then go to class afterwards. So you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be different for each day. But I did step back and make those active choices. And another active choice that I'm making, which I'm super excited about, is I'm working on a self-care journal. And this self-care journal is going to be tracking on a day-to-day basis the various things that I want to do to improve myself, my care, my health, my diet, etc. So I'm actually creating this journal for myself. And if it works out well, and after I'm done making the tweaks, I do want to include it as a free PDF download at The Bohemian Badass. And I also would like to create a spiral workbook out of it for purchase on Amazon. So that's going to be a little side project that I'm interested in doing, but it's going to start with me. And eventually I do want to make an app for this as well, because I think that that's a really great thing to have. It might be a companion app or whatever. You either buy the workbook and get the companion app free, or you buy the app and get the companion workbook free. I'm not really sure. But having like a water intake goal, an exercise goal, like just basically having like little check boxes. Did you exercise today? Yes. For how long? An hour. Check off the exercises that you did. Boom, 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 boom. That's it. How many cups or ounces of water did you drink today? Boom. How many hours of sleep did you get last night? Boom. Did you and this is important to me. I'm sorry, but like skincare and hair care is super important. So I'll be tracking that too. Did you get the shea butter on? Preserving this beautiful, black skin. Did you just like do like your self-care regimen today? Just things like that. Just things that I really just want to make sure are on point for myself, for my body, for my spirit, for my mind, and for my self-esteem. And it's just going to be basically like a checklist, a daily checklist of the things that I have done for my self-care and things that I haven't done. And I will also include like a tracker of like healthy foods that I consumed that day as well. I don't really enjoy calorie counting. I'm trying to stay away from being a calorie commando. But I do want to make a steady habit of being, again, actively and consciously aware of how I am treating my body. And that includes the food that I put into it. So, I invested in Joanna Penn's The Healthy Writer. She talks a lot about health. So do I on this podcast. And I think it's super important to protect your health as an artist, and especially as a mother, as a person. If you have people who will depend on you, and if you have a business and a career and a creative spirit that depends on you, you need to put your self-care first. So that's what I'm doing for my self-care. I also, as I mentioned briefly before, I made a natural products purchase. I got my shea butter, my cocoa butter, my shea oil for my hair and my skin, because for me, that's really important. Just keeping everything together and everything, just hygienic and beautiful and smooth. But the main thing, and I'll end the podcast on this, that I have done in the past couple of days for my self-care is that I have recused myself from a lot of online communities and social media that are inherently just unhelpful and toxic. So you guys have heard me talk a lot about online communities, like positive communities for Black people, for Black finances, Black artistry, Black creativity, Black business. And I find those groups to be very helpful and very inspirational. At the same time, sometimes some of those groups turn toxic, and I unfortunately have had to recuse myself from a couple of communities recently after I realized that the members were posting things like statuses, questions, memes that were just not very positive, that always elicited very judgmental responses, and that always seemed to be targeted specifically at the ways in which Black women were horrible people and the ways in which Black women made mistakes and fucked up, essentially. Excuse my French. And I just can't deal with that. I don't want to look at my community every day of Black, strong creatives, artists, business people, financiers, and see a reflection wherein Black women are not welcomed, wherein we're denigrated and criticized, wherein we are rebuked and we are made fun of and we are ridiculed. I can't look into that mirror every day and come out on the other side feeling like the queen I'm supposed to be. And what was the most hurtful about some of these communities and the things that they were talking about and the ways in which they treated other people, especially Black women, were that a lot of the judgment and nastiness was coming from other Black women. And that was what hurt the most. So for those of you who are not Black, that's fine. Like, you don't have to be Black to be able to relate to this. I'm sure you guys are a part of communities wherein there are a lot of positive things going on, but then, maybe you're a part of a group that's targeted. if you're not a Black female, maybe if you're a single mom. As a matter of fact, I know if you're a single mom, you've been a part of groups wherein your choices have been denigrated, your life has been devalued, you have been invalidated, and it doesn't feel good. You can experience this whether you're a single mom or a married mom, a single woman or a married woman. A woman or a man or transgender, Black, white, or Asian. It doesn't really, whether you have straight hair or kinky hair like I do. We've all been in situations where a group or a set of group members have made us feel judged and unwelcome because of our choices or because of who we are. And unfortunately, these situations have caused me to recuse myself, as I said before, from certain social media outlets and online groups. Unfortunately, one of these media outlets has been the sort of conscientious circuit, or the Black conscientiousness group, which is comprised of Black people who are trying to really take their emancipation seriously on a financial and cultural level, rebuild our culture, rebuild our communities, rebuild our money and our finances that was denied us from 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, and then predatory systems. And it's just very powerful to see that movement growing. But I've also just been seeing a lot of cattiness and nastiness between certain leaders in the Black conscious community. I've seen power struggles and competition and hateration happening between these leaders. I'm not going to mention their names. If you're a part of this community, then you already know who I'm talking about. At the same time, these same leaders are all the ones who are constantly, in a very subversive, covert way, pointing out again all the ways in which Black women aren't enough, specifically by attacking Black feminism or Black womanism, as though our Blackness somehow trumps the fact that we're also women and we also experience things like discrimination, harassment, abuse, sexual assault, and condescension from our male counterparts. For whatever reason, a lot of these leaders believe that we should be sacrificing our womanhood at the altar of our Blackness, and I am both Black and a woman at the same time, and I will not be doing that. And so, and that doesn't mean that I am automatically against the movement. It just means that I'm not going to take on all of these criticisms and basically this coonery that you are trying to put on me because you think I should be a certain way as a Black woman. Not gonna happen. And again, this is not only coming from certain Black leaders in the community, but also from other Black women in the community. And I just can't really deal with that, and I'm not going to deal with it. I don't as much. And so when I say I'm not going to deal with it, I am backing off and backing out of certain groups, but I will engage with the parts of the community that I feel are beneficial to myself as a person, as a woman, as a single mother, and as an African American woman. And those are, again, dealing with learning more about real estate from the Black perspective, finances and investing from the Black perspective, cryptocurrency from the Black perspective, saving from the Black perspective, patronizing businesses of color, also supporting and employing other people of color in the community. For me specifically, that will be in the field of media, because you guys already know what Rebel Ragdoll is here to represent and what we do. So those parts of the community I welcome and I will keep in my life. I will also be on social media honing and promoting my brand and other people's brands, and others businesses that are on the same wavelength as mine, and that are in the same industry as mine. But I will not be engaging anymore in the more social aspects of social media, where these online communities are basically tearing each other apart, and specifically tearing Black women apart. I'm not here for it. I'm not showing up for it. And I'm a strong, major advocate for not only single mothers, but for Black women, because I believe that despite our flaws, and everybody has flaws, so y'all can bunk that, but despite our flaws, we have made so many strides. We are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the country. Many of us are highly educated, on point. Even most of us as single mothers are hustling, working, 2 to 3 jobs. Not saying that we need to be addicted to the struggle story, at all, because I don't believe that we should just be addicted to the struggle story. We should be not just surviving, but also thriving. But it is a fact that a lot of single mothers are women of color. There are a lot of white single mothers too, but a lot of us are women of color, and we are still out here being entire goddesses, basically just doing the damn thing, raising families, opening businesses, supporting our communities, and also at the same time marching and pushing for political change alongside Black men. And I'm just not going to sit here and be criticized and be denigrated because people need to assert their masculinity in a society where basically Black men are not respected, and they are not given, or they're not afforded the same kind of power as their white counterparts. So while I understand all of that on an academic level, I'm not going to deal with people's cultural, social, emotional dysfunction that's thrown at me because they don't want to go to a psychiatrist and empower themselves and break down their walls of toxic masculinity or whatever. So I support the community. I support Black men. I support Black women. I support women. I support artists, and I support being amazing entrepreneurs. But what I'm not going to do any longer is engage in self-destruction by basically fraternizing in these communities. My thing is like, let's just leave the sociology to the sociologists like me, and let's focus on concrete change, like investing, establishing businesses, loving and supporting each other. And basically, that's pretty much all I have to say. As a part of loving myself, as a part of my self-care, I am definitely going to pull back from these communities, pull back from social media. I will definitely be doing digital fasts, as Joanna Penn has said on her podcast. And I'll be engaging in that and letting you guys know how that's going. But no worries, if you guys are still listening to this podcast and you want to continue listening to it, I will still be on this podcast every week, giving you an update and making sure that I'm keeping up to date with my progress, with my achievements. And I will also continue building the podcast, vlog, and audio brands for The Bohemian Badass and The Dollhouse. So don't think that my social media recusal means that I'm going to fall off on my business building and brand building. That's not the case. I'm just pulling back personally from a lot of different groups, and just reconsidering more carefully in the future which groups I will be joining on Facebook or just in general out in the world. And I think that's about it, guys. I mean, this went a little longer than I wanted to, about maybe 15 minutes longer than I was planning. But I'll let you guys know what happens with that self-care journal. I'm going to work on it today. It's something I need to get out of the way before grad school really kicks up and gets going. And if it turns out to be like a really good thing, I'm going to put together the journal and then also turn it into not only an electronic product, but also a physical product and also a tech product with the app. And I'll let you guys know what it looks like when it's available and where you can find it when it's ready. So I just want to leave you guys with these words, and those are that you really do need to take care of yourself. Recognize what your dysfunctional patterns are, what your toxic patterns are, where the toxicity in your life is coming from. That's super important to recognize and make changes. And remember that change is not just setting a goal and just leaving it. Change really does involve a change in your daily habits, which means that you have to turn your brain back on for certain habits and actively make different choices in creating new habits. So if you want to start eating healthier, or you want to start drinking healthier, or you want to start exercising, or whatever it is you want to do, you have to change your holding pattern. When you get up to open the fridge, if you want to eat healthier, you have to stand there and say, okay, I have a choice between donuts, and I have a choice between that and like cheese and crackers, or even better, there's some carrots with some ranch dressing. Which is going to get me closer to not only my larger goal, but also developing a new habit? Because once you develop a habit, it's on autopilot. So you'll be automatically making strides towards your goal. And you have to make those active choices. So I don't know, you need to gamify your life and pretend you're in a video game or something. And when you're at that fridge, make an active choice, to pick the carrots. If you can't pick the carrots, it's okay to pick the cheese and crackers too. But the carrots are the best choice, FYI. Anyway, I will talk to you guys next week. I'm a little tired. I'm going to go and take my own advice and go take a nap, work on my self-care journal, and enjoy my last free day before grad school starts up again and starts getting crazy. And I will see you guys next week. Stay indie, stay badass, keep creating, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.